You know, pianos are to harmony as drums are to rhythm, and every home should have both. To create and to sing and to celebrate and to dance and inspire just a joyous lifestyle. We wanted to go back 100 years, figure out how they were making drums back then, and channel those same methods today. I played drums my whole life and built a career as a professional drummer. I was introduced to vintage drums, and those vintage drums were always going to the sessions, always.
One of the things I like most about Rami looks backwards a lot. He looks at history and he finds things that have been done in the past that are, maybe they fell out of favor because there was a faster way to do something.
They were just made in an era where almost everything was made by hand. You got a lot of raw wood, raw metals, and an incredible attention to detail.
You know, these parts are all made here in the United States. They're all made by people working here in Austin. This shell that I'm cutting on came in as a flat sheet of smooth, polished brass. It got turned into a shell, welded into pieces, and then treated with chemicals to make it look like this. But not like a bunch of other drums. He's gonna get something that's got this skin. It's like a fingerprint. The patterns on the drum are individual, and it's not an accident.
But ultimately, what sold me is the sound. This unique sound.
We definitely build with ears, let alone the aesthetic that kind of follows behind. Building by hand, you don't want to rush it. Or sometimes 12, 15-hour days, you know. We don't send anything out that's less than average or even average. If I don't like this drum, if Rami doesn't like this drum, if it doesn't sing to us, it's not going to be representative of A&F, and I think that's a big reason why our drums stand out.
Because tone is everything, man. Tone is everything.
And every single one of them is different. You're playing history. I'm bringing everything that I have ever learned on the road, in the studio. I'm bringing all of it to A&F. We had no intention of starting a drum company.
And it wasn't about starting a drum company. It was about reproducing one really cool vintage drum he had found but couldn't get anybody to make.
You know, after 6 months of trying on this first drum, it was almost tearful when we hit the drum and it actually sounded like the exact sound in my head. And so we made a few and then decided to make only 100.
4 months later, somewhere in like the 40s or 50s, and I was like, what? Wait a minute. You have to create an LLC around this.
I was in the thick of a business that I had started, and I saw some beautiful pictures of drums that Rami posted. And one thing led to another, and we signed a deal and launched the company in May of 2016.
It's kind of an addictive thing. Once you start making drums and people start telling you how much they like them, it's really, really hard to stop.
When we moved out of the garages and rented an actual space, when my boys picked up, you know, paint rollers and brushes, and, you know, we're in there with paint all over them and just stoked, just the pride that they took, it totally shifted my perspective. At that moment, I decided this is gonna be a legacy company. I'm gonna take everything that I have left in my body, physically, mentally, spiritually, and I'm gonna point it at this company. That was it. It's like, we went from a 1 year, 2 year, 5 year plan to a 100-year plan.
If I'll be honest, I'll start crying, man. 2 years ago, I was probably on my deathbed. Really. Been struggling with sobriety, with depression, with anxiety.
Having gone through the steps myself, I've experienced so much freedom, and I have a lot of compassion for where somebody is when they're in the middle of that struggle. Now he's got a lot of support here.
I was in a touring Texas country band. Then I was doing like handyman work.
We'd come home for a couple weeks, go back out after the touring stopped, and I was kind of running around town playing, looking for gigs and figuring out what the next thing I was going to do. I prayed about it a lot.
Hoping for a job like this to show up.
So I came down, tried it out, and the rest just really developed into what I consider my dream career.
The love and the tight family bond.
The whole thing's a blessing.
We come in here, we laugh together.
We've ended up with some of the most amazing, beautiful people.
People that love what they do, they care about what they do.
And I'm talking about, Tabor and Jana and Zach, and then my partner Josh, and my amazing wife Tiffany, and Johnny and Eddie. And then all of our amazing artists. We have an incredible team of artists. It really does take a family to make something special. Our 3 pillars are simple design, practical application, brilliant sound.
At the core of it is this concept of creating an heirloom. We source materials locally, and the craftsmanship is up to par with those standards.
But ultimately, if we do anything powerful this year, that we are able to encourage more people to play drums. Play drums. And even more, play what you love. Because after all, it is play.